Sound is conducted through molecular compression. Sound is a molecular medium and cellular medium. You can feel sound. It vibrates in you. And when you take sound, like when you're toning or you're humming, especially a sustained note or a sustained pitch over time, it gives your body's molecules and energy structures the opportunity to align and to conform into these sacred geometric patterns. That's evidence of the intelligence of the divinity of sound expression. And in that clarity is where you can perceive and receive. If you're vibrating high and you can get yourself there just by humming real easily, then you will attract higher quality experience in your life. It's that simple.
Hi, friends. It's Donnabelle, your host of another episode of To Hum is Human, the podcast where we explore the transformative power of tuning into our intuition to express our passionate purpose. In today's episode, Intuition and Harmony, the sound of your inner hum, we dive into how sound, intuition, and ancient wisdom can awaken a deeper connection to our true selves. Whether you're looking for inspiration, ways of healing, or simply a deeper connection to the hum within, this episode will leave you tuning in to your own inner frequency like never before. And I know you're going to love my next guest. Today, I'm joined by Bradford Tilden. He's an international best-selling author, composer, pianist, angelic shaman, and master intuitive vibrational healer, specializing in sound, crystals, gemstone, and universal white time healing. He's one of the pioneers of UWT gemstone and energy healing teachers in North America. And Bradford brings out the greatness in people through inspiration, education, and activation of the mastery within. Bradford also performs and teaches locally, nationally, and internationally. Welcome, Bradford.
Hello, Donnabelle.
Now, my goodness, you're a classical pianist, a composer, and a sound healer. How did sound first become a major part of your life?
Sound has always been a major part of my life. Ever since I can remember, I would use my voice in response to unpleasant motor sounds that I would hear. The first time that I remember doing it was when I was mowing lawns as a kid for extra money. I wouldn't use headphones, but ear pods, that technology didn't exist then. I would hum, and I would literally hum with the motor. And in doing so, otherwise abrasive sound became a soothing massage and a meditation. And I didn't realize what I was doing, but I was putting myself in like a trance meditation while mowing lawns by humming with the motor.
I mean, there's something to that. I know I've read somewhere that when you do hum, it's a very calming sort of vagal nerve reactive thing that happens. I know something about when you were born. I mean, it was very indicative since the beginning.
Yeah. Thanks for dragging me all the way back there. So, I mean, I don't have a recollection of it, but both of my parents will jump to the opportunity to describe my birth. My father would set the scene very dramatic. It was a full moon on the coldest night of the snowless winter. We had a huge thermos of coffee, 14 hours of labor. Then I come out, and the first thing I do when I'm put on my mother is I start to hum. And then all these nurses and doctors in the birthing ward, came and they surrounded me and they watched and they witnessed the humming baby.
Wow.
And so that really is, I came in knowing the resource of the voice, and I never really lost that. When I was a kid, I grew up in the woods. Screaming was a form of communication. My mom letting me know dinner's ready, me letting her know I heard her. and so the diaphragm has always been robust. Didn't have to relearn how to engage it, which many people, because of conditioning in society to silence, to quiet the child, that was not that was a non-issue in my upbringing. So I was very fortunate in that way to have freedom of expression of my voice at an early age.
Gosh, I can almost picture you like owls. You're both calling from the woods, from the house.
My name is like a good projection. Wow,
you're quite projection there.
that was
So
nothing. I reserved it. I didn't want to blow out the speakers.
oh my gosh, that's wonderful. Now I'm curious about when then you started using additional instruments aside from your own vocal cords.
Yeah, so my grandmother had an upright piano, and she would play it by ear, and she would play her own renditions of "You Are My Sunshine." She would just improvise.
Hmm.
It was inspiring for me as a child. I was drawn to taking the lessons, and that was after my parents took me for aptitude tests, and the musical aptitude scored off the charts. Like those little xylophones, the task was to repeat the pattern the examiner played on the xylophone, and I didn't only repeat it, I added a complimentary phrase.
You're
So,
already
and,
improving.
and I was already composing. So they finally let me take piano lessons at the age of 8. And after years of begging, isn't that crazy? People force their kids to take piano lessons. I had to wait. And I remember I started composing right off the bat. I had a student teacher. Like 2 months in, I was grabbed by the head teacher. She's like, "You're studying with me." And then before you know it, I'm doing compositions. And my first recital piece was a serious composition by Robert Schumann of melody. It
Wow.
wasn't the like do do do,
Yeah.
all of that really basic rudimentary stuff that I guess average kids
Hot
struggle
cross
with.
buns.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the first piece was just this do 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 do. It was very inspiring, and not the one
Mm.
I wrote. That was the first piece I studied in one of those level 1 lesson book for kids.
I imagine because you had to wait, it was almost like you had this storehouse of music ready to be expressed
Mhm.
and born. What was your favorite genre? Did you explore various types of music on the piano?
I was absolutely obsessed with classical piano music, even to this day. The only reason I know anything about current pop culture is my husband. He's like, "This is Charlie XCS." He's like, "Who? Well, who's this? What's this?" And Abracadabra, Lady Gaga's. Oh yeah, I saw the video just because he showed it to me when we were in 5th grade. This is a fun anecdote. Our music teacher asked us to bring in a piece of music to share. And
Mm.
this was around the time of MC Hammer and I'm dating myself.
New Kids on the
New
Block?
Kids on the Block.
Oh my goodness, I'm dating myself as well.
Exactly. And all the other kids brought stuff like that. I brought the second movement of Beethoven's Seventh Symphony.
I mean, that's incredible.
The kids ridiculed me, but I was like, "But this is music."
They probably caught up later on. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know that piece, listen to it.
Yeah.
I saw it live at a concert in Florence at a cathedral, and
Oh.
that music is just so profound. I believe my music has that profundity in it as well. It's a new concept for me to own that, as I struggled with worthiness for years because of
Mm,
different authority figures who didn't support, or they didn't support me in the way that I really could have benefited from. So it was really an internal awakening of stepping into my power and shielding myself or separating myself from the others'
mm,
approval, which was
mm.
a real challenge for a lot of my life. It
Yeah.
humbled me, and it got
Mm.
me to where I am today.
That was sort of a nice segue to my next question, because I'm wondering, when did sound become more of a spiritual language for you? Was there a moment when it shifted from art to sacred practice?
It's not a particular moment, it's an overlap. I remember distinctly, I started hearing a drone sound in my head when I was in undergrad. I was a music major, and I didn't know what it was. I had no, it was a very unique sound, and I was obsessed with it. I would tone with it. I would sing with it in the shower. I would hum with it. I'm always humming or singing or doing something. There's always something musical going on in my head, even right now. And so I scored a piece for my thesis with wine goblets that you run your finger around
Right.
them.
Yeah.
I didn't really know at the time what a glass harmonica was, which
Mm,
Benjamin Franklin invented, but we won't go there. But it's like kind of one of those elaborate, like automatic devices where you can just put your finger on those tubes that does the same thing. it was really a bunch of intuitive guidance that got me into an open house for a sound healing school in San Francisco. Yes, from Amherst College in
Mm-hmm.
Amherst, Mass to San Francisco. There's a bit of a, not too much of a journey there. It was just, do you want to come move out with me? Okay. That was it. Seriously, it was one phone call and one answer. And then there was the crystal bowls, the classic frosted crystal bowl. And
Mm,
when the sound healer played the bowl, it was like a hatchway.
mm,
Like I've had several of these moments
mm,
in my life.
mhm,
That was a big one.
mm,
And there was an instant knowing that this was this defining moment. And I manifested one, a big one. That bowl, no joke, became my teacher. And at
mm,
that point, I was already a graduate from a massage school. 'Cause I was intuitively guided to go to massage school
mm,
after my 1 year fellowship as a choral assistant director at Amherst. A lot of so it was just a process of becoming, and it's just this open willingness to follow the joy of sound and the
mm,
joy of sonic expression and embodiment, which is very normal. Kids hum. They hum as a way for them to feel their bodies that their light body is only marginally tethered to because their reality is up in the collective consciousness. And to hum and to rock embodies them,
right. It's a grounding. It's
and
a
it's
very
grounding, and
grounding.
it's grounding for everyone. And I'm surprised that more people aren't just humming like I'm in the grocery store on the sidewalk and humming. Whistling is one thing. I don't know why I'm getting theoretical now, but
Nope.
whistling isn't the same, because whistling it's like a mechanical effect of right here. And the only internal experience of whistling is at the lips.
Mm,
It's not embodied. It's an outward expression of sound, whereas humming is the definitive internal expression of sound. And that's why it's so powerful, because it reminds you that you're alive.
yeah. You're in a body. You're in,
Yeah.
you're in a body here, right now,
Now.
right now. So it's interesting that you mentioned when you heard the crystal bowl, and then it ties back to working with those goblets with water. Could take us back to a moment when you first experienced what you call archangelic frequencies moving through you. So I imagine these are just
Mhm,
very
mhm.
high frequency energies, and how it's changed everything about the way you understood a spiritual alignment.
The first time that angels sang through me, or I opened to channel them, it was actually while I was recording the track called Incarnate Angel from my 2009 album, Angelic Incarnation. And I had been working with crystal bowls for a while, and I had recently come back from the Tucson Gem Fair, and I had a bin full of Lemurian seed crystals, a very special type of quartz that are
Mm,
pre-programmed. We can
mm,
talk about that some other time.
mhm.
There's information on my website about them. I got a bunch of blogs, and so I had the Lemurian seed crystals and another very powerful mineral called apophyllite. Show and tell. Here's a rather large specimen.
Beautiful.
And
Yes.
apophyllite, it opens your crown chakra, which is the energy center at the top of your head. It brings you closer to guides, angels, and beings in the celestial realm, which is up
Mm,
near the level of heaven, if you want to
mm,
gradate dimensions. And I was doing my usual toning, and then suddenly the energy increased, and I felt my crown widen, and I felt that I surrendered to the expression of a greater being that came through and used my vocal cords and my jaw and my whole apparatus. And I allowed these really powerful frequencies that I was able to shape as musical expressions
mm,
through my voice. And I'm so grateful that I actually have that moment recorded for anyone to experience. And as you make recordings of things, any energies are somehow captured on the recording and can be transmitted. And I learned that from Tom Kenyon, who's one of the world's most recognized sound healers. On his recordings, he's like, there's bleeps, there's blops, there's glitches in the sound, but he can't avoid them or he won't take them out because that's indication of the higher frequencies that are
mm.
being captured. If you look at a picture and you see the greater spectrum beyond the physical is essentially captured within it, but you just can't see it, but you can sense it on a different level.
I mean, we could have this whole conversation about how crystal energy is used in technology and science. They're powerful conductors of energy. and use particular ones in your practice. But I'm curious about your school. So you are one of the pioneering practitioners and teachers of this healing modality called Universal White Time Healing. You name it the Lemurian School of Intuitive Natural Healing. It's so evocative. What does Lemurian energy mean to you? Because I know many listeners may not understand what that means.
Okay, great question. Universal White Time Healing is a newly available modality on the grand scheme of things. Just to put this into context, the founder of Reiki received his knowledge in the early 20th century, like around 1923, they think. So it's been about 100 years for Reiki. I would say it's the most predominant energy and well-known energy healing modality in the world to spread to where it is today. Even in massage school in 2023, 24, Reiki was just a whisper. So I'm sorry, 2003. Everything is exponential, like technology, spiritual knowledge, all this stuff. So I came across White Time in 2006, and that was another whoop. And I realized that I carry the knowledge within me and that I contracted in this life. I believe that we all make a plan with potentialities, probabilities, depending on our free will decisions in this lifetime, and responses to stressors and our opportunities. Get assigned these guides. So, like, everyone has a guardian angel, but these are specialized guides. And my guides encouraged me to work with these crystals. And through these crystals, they wanted me to integrate sound. And so I modeled the Lemurian school of natural healing based on the flow of the gemstone healing classes that I'm, a level 4 teacher of. And Lemuria did actually exist in the historic human record. There's geological evidence, there's archaeological evidence, there's anthropological evidence, much like Atlantis. Everyone's searching for the lost Atlantis, which of course was in the Atlantic near the Caribbean. And you can go the deep dives, all those submerged cities and structures and things. There's the physical evidence that an ancient civilization existed and no longer does. The same in the Pacific Ocean and the Hawaiian islands, the mountains, those were the highest peaks of the land mass. It was a subcontinent that gradually submerged due to volcanic activity. But there was an advanced civilization on that had advanced knowledge of working with natural frequencies, natural healing frequencies, energies, cosmic energy, life force energy, sound, and crystalline energy and crystalline technology, and using them naturally, not manipulating or anything like that. And so the Lemurian seed crystals are the product of one of the projects that the leaders of that civilization initiated for us at this time to help us awaken our mastery within. And I fully believe that it was the presence of the Lemurian seed crystals with the apophyllite while I was creating that recording that allowed me to open that channel to be able to sing and tone and channel angelic and archangelic frequencies with my voice. And now other beings too, indigenous beings, indigenous spirits. I've come to recognize that I help heal land of trauma, especially native disposition trauma or bloodshed or any sort of heavy energies of the land, of the conflict that occurred there. These beings, they step into me and I do these beautiful, powerful shamanic chants of forgiveness, of healing, and of restitution. It's very humbling to be of service that way. And I owe it primarily to the Lemurian seed crystals that opened up these latent abilities inside of me. And I know that they do the same thing for anyone else who feels called to begin working with them.
I am a firm believer in that everything is energy and their energetic imprints and patterns that exist in land and places, in objects and people. This idea that we all have this ability to perceive these energies and to intuit these energies and to be guided by this insight. And the fascinating thing is what about sound in the human body is we are incredible conductors of sound. We're 70% water, if not more. And sound just travels so beautifully, resonantly within our systems. And of course, we have crystals in our own body, our skeletal structures, our bones, our cells, all of it works so harmoniously. And I feel if people knew that aspect of using sound and healing and toning that they could also bring some healing to themselves. And so, how can sound, especially crystal tones and sacred voice, help us tune into our inner guidance to clear the noise that blocks us from hearing it?
So when I was in the sound school and 20 years ago, we mentioned this interesting field of study called somatics.
Hmm.
Hans Jenning, he was a German scientist, and he produced this book called Somatics. And it was fascinating, and it demonstrated how sound has direct effect on organizing physical matter into not just geometric structures, but sacred geometric structures. Nowadays, you can go onto Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, and there's these infinite amount of reels of people demonstrating this effect. It's the hallmark thing. You must have seen it. They're even selling products now. It's like instead of the Zen garden, they've got
Hmm.
a Zen somatic generator, and you can.
Oh,
It's yeah,
wow.
I saw that like on Instagram. The real basic fundamental thing, and you probably know what I'm talking about, is there's a plate, a metal plate, and sand. The one you can do at home is take a violin bow and you just string the bow along so that the plate
Mm.
vibrates, and at whatever frequency that is, the sand will
Oh,
dance into a frequency. Even what was it? I think Game of Thrones or some maybe it was the Wheel of Time. It was one of those big blockbuster shows. They actually had sort of a cymatic opening where it was a bunch of sand particles that would figure into different structures. So that's what you can see.
mhm,
Sound is conducted through molecular compression. Sound is a molecular medium and cellular medium. You can feel sound, it vibrates in you. And when
mhm,
you take sound, like when you're toning or you're humming, especially a sustained note or a sustained pitch over time, it gives your body's molecules and energy structures the opportunity to align and to conform into these sacred geometric
mm,
patterns,
mm,
snowflakes, like
mm.
all of that, or water molecules, thanks to Dr. Emoto, right?
Yes.
That's evidence of the divinity of sound expression.
Mm,
In the beginning was the word. Well, yeah, the word needed to occur to create form for
mm,
consciousness and light. We live in this overstimulated, distracted, super quick, short attention span world where everything is pulling us in every direction. And your body and your energy and your molecules and your inner structures are like, where do I go? Which way do I go? Sound, either self-produced or experienced through crystal bowls, or but it allows you to organize. And when you align, and you will vibrate at your resonant pitch with whatever is going on,
mhm,
it allows all that chaos and distraction to fall away.
mm,
And that, in that clarity, is where you can perceive and receive your intuitive communications. Intuition, I think, is just a tuning into the resonance of
yes,
something that's compatible, that's
yes.
harmonious with you. And
Mhm,
that it's like attracts like, right?
mhm,
The vibration, the law of attraction. If you're vibrating high and you can get yourself there just by humming real easily, then you will attract higher quality experience in your life.
mm, mm,
It's that simple. And I've had a very large number of people after my sound healings, my group sound healing, say, my hip pain is gone.
mhm,
The lump in my breast is gone. I
mm.
mean, stuff like that happens
Wow.
because those lumps and that pain is not part of your original divine
Yeah.
blueprint.
It's dissonance
And
in the body.
it's dissonance in the body. Yes, I love that.
Wow. I mean, we could talk for hours on this,
Yeah.
but we'll continue on. So, Bradford, you're an initiate of the Puma tribe in the Arrow tradition. What pulled you to study with this Arrow shaman from Peru?
Becoming initiated in the tribe of the Puma occurred because I got the call to go to Peru in 2008 to 9. We were in Aguas Calientes, now Pueblo de Machu Picchu. They renamed it,
Mhm,
the town below Machu Picchu, on New Year's Eve, 2008 to 9. It was very spiritual. And we went to this town, Ollantaytambo. By the way, this was a huge awakening for me. The Peruvians and the Incans, uh, they acknowledge that their ancestry is the Lemurians,
mm,
and they believe that the sun disk, the famous Incan sun disk, is was a gift from some Lemurians, and there is an active portal, the Maru Muru portal,
mhm,
that connects with the existence of the civilization that is going on a higher dimension. I know we're bringing this back to normal, but quite honestly, there was a crystal store there, and I walked into it, and the curator popped out. He walks up to me, he waves me over. He looks at me, he taps at me on my heart chakra. He goes, "You have good heart. Come inside. I initiate you." He asked if I was a member of a tribe. I said no. He said, "I am Puma." So he gave me these 3 meteorites. He blessed them, and he put them in my hand, and then he held a stone up above it. One of them went up to the stone, and he put the other side. He put that meteorite in my hand. He did an elaborate ritual with a puma claw, and then he said, "Now you puma," in broken English. Now,
Wow.
when I was a child, maybe 3 years old, I had a recurring nightmare of a puma chasing me. And I got to there was this point, it was down the street back towards my house, and there was like a threshold of safety that I needed to reach. And I jumped, and every time I jumped trying to reach the safety, it would slash my back with its claws,
I
and
have
I
the
would
same
wake
one
up
with the
in pain.
tiger.
Years later, I started to explore that. I did a lot of research, and that is evidence of a shamanic initiation. It's sort of a natural occurrence. And I'm like, well, Western civilization is very removed from indigenous customs. I'm a WASP, white Anglo-Saxon male, like Protestant, came over with the Mayflower.
Right.
But anyway, we don't have that vision quest. We don't have that rite of passage built into our maturing process for adult males. So here I am, 28 years later, and this shaman recognizes something within me, and it connects it back to that childhood. Because I've always felt very drawn to shamanic practices without really that much formal study. But while we were there for 2 weeks, we were working with the Karo shamans. We were learning their traditions. We were doing the despachos. We got the rainbow body, light body initiation with their meteorites. And then we were able to witness the despacho. You're not supposed to witness the burning of it until you reach a certain level of initiation. And that was very special for us. I was back in Peru with another group of people, with Jorge Luis Delgado, who's the leading Peruvian shaman. You can catch him on Ancient Aliens. And he told us that the despacho is a night practice. And that's the one that was preserved because the Spaniards repressed them practicing their indigenous practices, and that there's all these solar practices. That's my level of training with the Karo. I have a soul connection with it. And I had past life recall while I was there this time, knowing that I was standing on those temples, looking over the sacred valley of Cusco, doing sound. It was so profound and soul and heart expanding, just to embody that sound at that place again after centuries of a prior incarnation. It was just, my DNA was so excited.
I imagine that whole experience was like a remembering of sorts, and how beautiful that you were able to just have those synchronistic interactions with people. I always feel like there are no coincidences. And so, how beautiful to run into Puma
Yeah.
and have that initiation. I'm curious because you're working in this higher frequency, higher energy place with universal white time, but then you're also dealing with the arrow shaman energy, which is more earth rooted.
Mhm.
How do you balance these cosmic and earth rooted paths?
This is something I meditated on a lot, and I got a lot of information about. First of all, I recognize us humans as world bridgers. Our bodies are of the earth. This is earth. These are minerals. This is the food. Everything that we are physically is of the earth's body. We are one with the earth. But we're also spiritual. Our souls are not of this earth. I don't believe anyone's soul is native to earth. I think our souls are far more ancient. And well, some souls are newer. In general, a soul is like, oh, let's go to the earth school, right? You incarnate here for experience. And so we come from a greater universal intelligence. And that's what we connect with in our higher chakras, in our minds, in our meditations, in our higher organizational structures of our DNA, even. The white time healing is really the higher beings looking at us now, giving us tools and resources to continue to grow so that we can expand our consciousness into the higher dimensions while preserving our physicality with the earth. It's a very unique time of awakening. Everyone's talking about awakening. And it's important to continue to honor the physical. The physical has half of that. A lot of people deny the physical. Oh, I just want to be in meditation all day. And those people, they develop imbalances in their body, dissonances that are defy Western medicine. Well, actually, that happens to a lot, even people who value the physical, because of the changes that we're undergoing. Right now, I believe that the divine benevolent intelligence wants us to grow and to evolve. And it's providing every opportunity and resource to do so through sound, through crystals, through energy, through activating conversations such as this to open up and remove the blockages of limitation. And sometimes the lessons come that the person needs come through physical challenges of health. Sometimes they come through financial challenges. Sometimes they come through relationship challenges, but it's all to perfect the diamond of the soul, to grow, to maintain that balance and expand it so that if you're the human here and there's the universe there and then the earth here, expand and integrate your chakras above and below so that you become one with both the earth and the universe and there's no separation. And that's why I believe we're world bridgers and our consciousness inhabiting our human vessel. Yeah.
So amongst your other gifts, Bradford, you're also an author. And recently you've contributed a chapter in The Intuitive Entrepreneur, Deeper Connections for Soul-Driven Success with the lead author, Deb DeSalle. What is your title and what can listeners look forward to learning from this chapter?
Great. I love it. My chapter is chapter 19, In Service of the Divine, Breaking Out of the Small Business Paradigm. It was initially the most difficult chapter to conceive and ultimately the most enjoyable chapter to write. I had so much fun writing it, and I hope the readers have so much fun reading it. My compositional process with this and music and all that stuff is I think about it, and it's like I contemplate for sometimes days, weeks, and then I know it's time to start writing. But I always need that seed, right? Where does it start? What is the tone? What is the form? What is the structure? And it kind of builds out organically. Well, that's kind of how my life is.
Well, and I imagine this title is just, a title could be for business, but really for life, right?
As an intuitive entrepreneur, I grew into it. I didn't come with, I want to be a fill in the blank. I'm going to make a business plan. I'm going to execute the business plan. For me, it was completely reversed. I just did what I felt like doing because it gave me joy. And I also had to make a lot of sacrifices to ensure that I put the truth of my path above anything else, distractions. The life of an entrepreneur, there's great pros and there's some cons, unplugging from my business, especially because my business is my life. It's not really conducive to unplug from my life, which is my version of that is Netflix, because that is, and just for like maybe a couple hours a week or a day, I'm like, all right, there it is. There's my, my Monday morning till like 11 a.m. time off. Now let's get back to, but what I want readers to take from my chapter is just to have faith in the possibilities of something greater than you can yourself conceptualize or conceive. I had an idea of what I wanted to do. I didn't know how much more fantastic it would be. And I believe that that's because I never placed limits on the possibility. Although in recent years I started internalizing the shoulds. I should do this. I should do that. I need a marketing person to do this. I need that to do that. I know that. And I realized that because my business, my healing is a vibration. It's an expression. It's a confirmation that you can create a fantastic reality following your passions without ever having to make concessions against that. Right. And it might take a while, and perseverance and dedication is key, but it can also be fun. It's joyful. That's the thing. The joy is really this is weird, but it's the strings along the suspension bridge that I'm walking.
Yes.
And it's just always to have that vibration of joy. and
Mm,
find the joy in everything and the laughter. Even in the horrible, horrible things that have happened to me in my life, I found laughter and joy in being able to reflect upon them in a
mm,
sense. So
mm,
my chapter is a fun read, and it's just how these pivotal moments just opened up to new possibilities. Like,
mm.
it's just like there's this row of doors, and this is the one you choose, and you open it up, and there's a world of doors. It's just so amazing how I see these spheres of consciousness just form and emerge based on an intuitively followed decision. I'm really into the consciousness spheres. That's how you do that. And it might take a while
Mhm.
to learn and to integrate and to understand everything that's in there, which are also more possibilities. But I guarantee it's worth exploring.
Well, it sounds like be a yes when it presents itself, even if it might be scary or
Yeah.
overwhelming, just see what happens. Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in the process of a lot of yeses that I've said.
Maybe a few yeses, not all the yeses. Right. So you
That's
know
the hard thing. That's the
right.
hard thing,
It's
is to
true.
really temper and discipline and know that when you're acting at capacity, to act at capacity, and then
Mhm.
one of two things can happen. Your capacity can increase,
Mhm.
which it often does.
Mm.
And that's what I want,
Same.
to continue to increasing in capacity and expansion to be able to positively affect more people.
Yeah.
It's really healing, and it's vibration, and which
Mm.
we're back to sound. My current average audience size is this, and I want it to be that. And then that many people will go out and create those positive ripples. And that's really what it's about.
Yes, the ripple effect, the ripple
Yeah.
effect. So, what might a simple daily sound or vibrational practice look like for someone wanting to reconnect with their inner hum, but who feels a little overwhelmed or unsure of where to begin? Do you have any suggestions?
One of two places: shower, the car. And if you're a driver and you drive alone.
Mm.
And if you shower, you shower alone. So
Mhm.
the breath is always there. There's no excuse not to have the tools available. And just take a moment, and you can do it right now. The biggest obstacle I found in people is judgment and insecurity, even when they're alone. One of my potential taglines is like, if you don't like the sound of your own voice, then there's opportunity for healing, because everyone should be in love with the sound of their own voice. And that doesn't mean
Mm,
talking all the time.
mm,
Just love your voice.
mm,
If it's uncomfortable listening to yourself on recording, look
mm,
at that. Why? That's who you
mhm,
are. That's your
mhm,
frequency, literally. So just inhale.
mm.
And to start, humming is easy. Keep your mouth closed and just make I call it a consistent sound, right? Mhm. And make that sound for as long as you can. And I like it to be the same sound, not like moving up and down
Mm,
in range or whatever, because
mhm,
you have to do some sort of engagement, right? You have to lock your vocal cords into that thing and hold them there. And that holding that form allows that sound to enough time to make the sound again organize and align your internal structures. If you
mm.
go it's just not going to work,
Right, right.
because there's nothing to align to. So think of a constant sound. That's another mistake. And then make the same sound on the next inhale. I'm smiling, and it's hard to do that with your smile.
Mm, mm.
These are shortened, but imagine
Yes,
that with your full breath.
yes.
Then develop into the mouth,
Mm,
opening the mouth with an ah or an o. I like
mm,
ah; it's very present. It opens
mm,
the heart chakra.
mm,
Ah, ah.
mm. Mhm.
When you hear this little gravelly, rough stuff, I believe that. I mean, I know what it is, but I tell myself that it's the body releasing some of that
Yeah,
dissonance,
yes.
clearing the dissonance. Because if you do that long enough, the voice will sound crystal clear, and you're clearing out the debris,
Mm,
both physical and energetic. And if you cough while doing this, that's fantastic. because coughing is clearing.
This big release, big clearing
That's right.
release. Absolutely. That seems so simple.
It's so simple.
And it's just, and it sounds beautiful. Like, don't judge yourself, but just hearing you, I'm like, wow, I can feel that. I can feel that from here. If you can feel it within your own body, can you imagine what
Yeah.
that's like?
That's the most amazing thing, is the vibration that you feel in your body.
Mm,
And then you can learn that. You can also feel places that aren't vibrating because they're blocked.
mm.
And I've also discovered throughout my years of musings, you can breathe the different parts of your lungs.
Oh,
So many variables to
mm,
explore. And the best way is to make them vibrate with the humming or the toning.
mm-hmm.
And I do toning as a meditative practice.
Yes.
I'm on a half an hour commute, 40-minute commute, toning the entire time. You are a different person when
Oh,
you arrive. Especially if
absolutely.
it's for an important meeting. There is no
Mm-hmm.
possibility for anxiety,
Mm,
stress, or being hurried.
mm,
You are in such the zone when you tone for an extended period of time.
mm.
That's when you can start to receive communications because you're so
Yes.
clear.
Well, just even being in traffic, you're in a different state of mind. You're not like, I got to get there. I'm so late. You're just like, I'm going to get there when I get there. How beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. So, what's next on the horizon for you? What are you excited about coming up in the near future?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm currently working on digitally distributing a couple of my unreleased piano albums. And also, I'm working on my second major album of the original classical piano music. It's 20 years overdue.
Wow.
So keep a lookout for more for music. You can stream my music already on Apple Music and
Mm,
Spotify and all those other things. It's just
mm,
Bradford Tilden. I've got beautiful stuff, archangel meditations, classical piano, sound healing stuff, the CD where I channel the angels. So you
mm.
can just listen to it and stream it, or you can go to my Bandcamp page and support the musician by purchasing it and downloading it. I got another collaborative book coming out
Oh,
soon. This time it's with the Wellness Universe
oh,
online with Anna Pereira. It's the sixth book in their tools for self healing. It's this 25 tools for transformation. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and I do travel a lot. So connect with me on social media if you want to join my mailing list. I'd love to have you on there.
yes. Wait, what's your
I
handle?
My handle on Instagram is at Bradford Tilden, and on my Facebook business page is at Crystal Music Healing, which
Mm,
is the name of my website and my
mm-hmm.
business. I work with crystals and
Of course.
music and
Yes.
healing. So
Yes.
kind of on the nose.
That sounds like a very full and rich upcoming adventure for you. It seems like you're constantly in motion, but it's all beautiful. It's unfolding and it's clearly aligned with a lot of the things that you're doing and you're teaching. Bradford Tilden, you bring a truly multi-dimensional presence, blending music, crystal sound healing, cosmic channeling, honoring the mystical and grounded facets of just being here, just being human. I appreciate you joining me in such a beautiful and luminous conversation today.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this.
Thanks for being here. I hope something from today's conversation stayed with you or gave you a new way to look at things. That awareness, that pause, that's where things start to shift. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone who might need it. You can learn more about my work and what's coming up at sonorouslight.com, and you can follow me on Instagram at To Hum Is Human. Until next time, keep humming.